Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and I want to talk about how to behave around kids, young people. And I do have some experience with this as a step-parent and having been a former young person myself, of course. There's some confusion going around that I hear from people about what is proper, what is allowable in terms of safety and in terms of what kind of emotions and feelings people have. And some people are legitimately uncomfortable around kids. I don't happen to be one of them. I think kids are great, and I've always gotten along very well with kids. But there are some people who just don't want to be around kids, and kids make them uncomfortable, or kids cause them to feel things that they know themselves aren't necessarily appropriate. And there's a word for these people, some of them, they're called pedophiles. I want to be clear about one thing, and I've talked a lot about human evolution and natural environments and behaviors that have evolved in human, in just as part of the package of being a human being. Understand that the conveniences and cultural norms of modern society have not always been here, first of all. In nature, that is, living in a jungle without a lot of technology and conveniences, life can be very short and brutish. Life can be very harsh, and survival hinges on not just adapting and being intelligent, but reproducing quickly, and this is a fact. So, as observed in animals and monkeys, in particular the bonobos, which are thought to be the most genetically or behaviorally similar to human beings, as far as I know, there is, and I'm not suggesting people act like monkeys. I'm not, or that they should. I'm just saying, historically, in our ancient history, we've had to survive as a species. We've evolved and adapted to recognizing certain things, such as when a human being, another human being of compatible reproductive capabilities, reaches an age of reproduction, that is puberty, we call it puberty, certain normal, natural impulses begin to arise in the other, whoever they are. This happens. It's measurable, and there's a reason for it, because at that point, it becomes advantageous to the species and families to, if necessary, capitalize on it. But is it proper in our culture is the question. Is it proper to be romantic with young people? And our law says no, very categorically. And I want to say that there's some confusion about this part of the guidelines that describe good behavior, and I want to talk about that. The guidelines are very simple, actually. It's okay to admit that young people are attractive. First of all, I'm going to say that. And if someone says that flawless skin and idealism and optimism and energy aren't attractive, I just simply don't believe you. Okay, you can lie about it, but that's not the subject of this video. It is pretty clear that between the ages of 13 and 18, people are becoming sexually attractive, not just to anyone, but to themselves, to other people. They're growing and developing as mature adults at that point, with full reproductive capability in a medical sense. So here's the thing: admitting that, understanding it, and looking at the other side of that coin, where it becomes, in the context of this reality, it becomes proper to have impulse control. So let's start with impulse control. Impulse control is choosing what to do with yourself, not just what to say you did with yourself, but what to actually choose as a course of action at every moment. Consider that the impulse may be available for a particular choice or action, such as being romantic or pursuing romance with a person, but to indulge that impulse is a different thing. To indulge an impulse to pursue romance with anyone, young people, older people, makes no difference, is a choice that you can make. And to refuse that impulse is also a choice you can make. So it really comes down to having a slow pulse. How do you encourage that? And some of that is genetic. It's inherited, the tendency to not go from 0 to 100 in 1 second, so to speak. And unfortunately, there are some people and circles that prize this as a positive trait. How fast can you get turned on? Well, you know what? That's not always a good thing. Maybe it's better if it's a very slow thing, especially if you're going to be spending time around people who you don't necessarily want to feel romantic around. So having sort of a delayed reaction and impulse control can make you feel very comfortable around children, because there's no problem. There's no problem when you can choose your behavior. You can choose what to indulge as far as feelings and attention. You can choose what to look at, where to look, and you become respectful. You have the capability and the capacity, if you have what I just described as a slow pulse and impulse control, to be respectful and comfortable around whoever, and you'll stay out of trouble. And I mean, really, choosing your own path in general is a good idea, is it not? Instead of, thinking with your pants, so to speak. You've heard that one. It's good to be decisive. It's good to be informed, decisive, safe, and hopefully compassionate towards other people, respectful, and there are it's a big subject. So consider, even in places where the age of consent is legally lower, which exist, it's not 18 in every part of the world for a reason, because 18 is really high up in terms of human history and in other parts of the world. So it's a configurable age. We've decided on 18 here between, older adults and younger people, but consider that having relations with people who are under or near the age of consent can compromise your power in a situation, your authority, and your accountability in kind of any capacity, but especially if you're an official person like a teacher or a moderator or a trainer, or just a person anywhere around kids. You don't want to compromise your own safety and security and authority, because those are very important, and you don't have to. At the end of the day, it's not worth it, right? Especially if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It should always involve love. Last thing I'll say is it should be about love regardless. And if you love someone, you're waiting until they're ready. You want them to be happy and healthy. That's what love is. So hope that makes sense. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.